Shut this bitch down!
Hello there, gang, and welcome to Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys, comics, video games, and all the things within our brains. Hey, that kind of rhymes. So let's not stand on ceremony. Mr. Wayne, let's talk about him. First up, with the new Avatar movie only a few weeks away, McFarlane are really cranking up the presses, does that make sense, on new Avatar action figures. So we've had the first wave revealed, and now we've got a whole bunch of pre-orders up for a whole bunch more action figures. I can't even remember all the names myself, so I'm going to cheat and read them off a sheet. First up, we have a figure called Tonawari, and then we also have another version of Jake Scully from Reef Battle. I do love the fact that this is all very tropical sort of look to it. It actually reminds me of the final scene in Rogue One, where it's all set on that beach type planet. So I'm getting those kind of vibes, and I kind of dig that. When you see technology with tropical islands, like, they don't normally go together. Feels a bit like a Sonic the Hedgehog kind of thing. Like if there was a grittier Sonic movie, that's kind of what that combination of things would look like. Anyway, we're getting a Reef Battle Jake Sully, but that's not all. We're also getting another Neytiri from Metkaina Reef. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Then we're getting a CET Ops or a Set Ops Crab mega figure. This looks really cool. Don't get too excited though. Cool your jets, alright? Yes, it's a mega figure, but it's not like as big as you might think, because you've got to bear in mind the humans in Avatar are actually quite small compared to the Na'vi, so this isn't going to be that big. Apparently it's like 7 inches long or so. That's what the readings, the readings, like someone's scanning it. This appears to be 7 inches. Big Bad Toy Store has this listed as about 7 inches long, so still a, chunky piece of plastic, but nothing crazy huge. Otherwise you'd be talking like Kickstarter HasLab sort of prices, and we don't want to go there. Unless you're Mattel, in which case they're probably quite happy they went there. More on that later. Still, that looks kind of cool. We're also getting another mech suit AMP mega figure as well, and these do look really cool actually, and we've seen some video reviewers already showing how you can put different characters from different lines in them. I do kind of love that actually, so if you want to really zhuzh up like your G.I. Joes or your Action Force type figures, these seem to be fudged pretty well in there too, so those are always exciting to see. Then we're getting what's called a Skimwing Beast, which just looks like a cool beastie from the film. There are so many toys and action figures coming out from this that it's almost a little bit fruitless to list them, especially since I'm still recovering from this stupid head cold. The amount of edits I'm doing to this video because I'm just having coughing fits. I'm not going to belabor the point, but you're seeing all the pretty pictures. They're up for pre-order now, so if you're big into Avatar, I don't know if anyone is big into Avatar. We all just generally enjoy it. I don't know anyone who's like, man, I can't freaking wait! But, I'm hyped for it. But then again, Avatar was 12, 13 years ago. That is a long-ass time to wait for a sequel. But hey, hopefully it delivers, because we're going to have a whole bunch of action figures warming the pegs if it don't. Going over to the MOTU Eternia Kickstarter, this is going to be a quick story. It's funded. That didn't take long. Wow, you Masters of the Universe fans, you know what you want and you go out and get it. This thing was backed very, very quickly. So I think all of the early bird goals were reached and stuff. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't got the facts in front of me. This is like a late breaking story. But yeah, eternities are happening. Funded yesterday, so congratulations to all you Masters of the Universe fans. Didn't need as many backers as the Hell Charger. The Hell Charger needs 9. Good luck. And Eternia only needed 5, so 5,000. So we'll see how far it goes. I've got a feeling it's going to be hitting a few tiers by the looks of things. Folks seem really hyped for this. Again, this ain't my wheelhouse. I don't have a dog in this race, but I'm happy for the folks who really want it. Massively high price, but hey, that seems to be what stuff costs these days. I ain't condoning it, I ain't pleased about it, but it is what it is. So the Hell Charger in the meantime, man, that's still losing backers. So that one I think is going to be joining Cookie Monster and Reaver's lightsaber in the land of failed HasLabs. But hey, hopefully that's good news, because hopefully this time next year, we're going to be getting excited about what tiers the awesome next Marvel Legends HasLab is hitting. I've still got high hopes for that. I think the concept can work as long as you get the right product. And in this case, Mattel, they definitely got the right product. Going on over to Storm Collectibles, they have a new 2-pack coming out for their Golden Axe line. This one containing the characters Henniger and Longmoan. Gave my girlfriend a Longmoan the other night. I told her I'd purchased more action figures. So, these two characters, more villains for your massive, by this point, Golden Axe display. Someone at Storm Collectibles, they love their Golden Axe a lot more than they love their Streets of Rage characters. Come on, guys, Axel Stone is so lonely behind me. I know they're teasing Adam, but give me Blaze. Come on, I want Axel and Blaze. In the meantime, though, you can pick up these two new characters for your Golden Axe display. They're gonna be hitting round about Q2 next year. No word on prices yet. And prices are going up across the board, so you know this is going to be north of $100. How much by? Who knows? Grit your teeth and we'll find out eventually. Super 7 are going back to the Beastie Boys with their reaction figures for Intergalactic. This is my 90s childhood right here. You could not switch on the radio in 1997 without hearing Intergalactic Planetary. Oh, whoa, I was going to stop myself there. I could have kept on going. Freaking love that song. And the bonkers music video. It's literally playing in my head right now, and that's making me kind of happy. So I love the look of this. Again, it's reaction style, so it's not like hyper detailed. It's more just the essence, the feeling, the display of this. I kind of love it. I think it's a Super7.com exclusive. It's going to be available October 24th. So check out Super 7 on the internet. This is a figure that you can get. It's my Beastie Boys. A little random shout out now to friend of the show, Sherlock, who got his custom Quick Kick figure featured on TNInews.com. This is like one of the biggest action figure news websites, so it's always kind of cool when one of the good brothers gets to be featured. So Sherlock, fantastic work with a little bit of kit bashing going on there. I can see the Marvel Legends, what's his name, Shang-Chi in there, and the rest, I don't know. Looks good though, so great work. Double thumbs up, and nice to see you recognized. And that does it for action figure news for today. Yeah, there's not a lot going on at the moment. I think everyone's still wound up with their Galactus fever, and who can blame them? But don't worry, we have a whole bunch more news to go. There's about 40 stories I wanted to cover, because there's just a lot of nice things. Like, just, I used to call this show Good News, and that's what it's all about. Just some really good news. So it's not stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. We didn't do that at the start, not going to do it now. Let's talk about all the good news. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the current story going on in Batman at the moment, because I was reading a summation of it and it looks badass, and I love this concept. There's a new villain called Failsafe, who is pretty much Batman's version of Ultron. What the deal is that this is a super powerful android that Batman designed to basically take him down if he ever went crazy and rogue and needed to be stopped. The problem is, Batman didn't know about it. Yes, this thing was created by his split alternate personality, the Batman of Zenar, I think I've got that right, which is a personality that Bruce will go into in times of stress or whatever. And this is the Batman who made this failsafe and then erased all proof of its existence. So Bruce didn't even know about this thing. And then what happens is Batman gets blamed for the murder of the Penguin, which then activates failsafe, because failsafe thinks, Batman's gone crazy and is killing people. Time to take him out. And the thing about Batman is he makes really good robots, it seems, which is where we get the big time Age of Ultron type comparisons, because failsafe wipes out like all the JLA, all the people that try to stop him, and he makes all these failsafe drones and takes over Gotham City. And I'm like, okay, yes, there are some comparisons to Ultron, Hank Pym, Tony Stark, all that kind of thing, but I don't mind if stories lift ideas from other ones as long as they're told well, and this actually sounds like a really cool story. So I got a bit of flack the other day for saying I don't like DC. It's not that I don't like it, it's just they've never really caught me by the jaffers. But this is a story that might ensure that my Jaffas are caught. So, yeah, I might check this out. In a little preview of Carnage #7 coming out today, we see Carnage descending further into hell and the netherworld in order to bolster up his power. And I'm still really enjoying this show because comic book, you know what I mean. But either way, it's because it's doing what I always love to see, which is taking a traditionally one character type villain and putting them in completely different situations with characters they wouldn't normally interact with. So that's going to come up in another comic I'm going to point out as well. But seeing Carnage face off with Malekith and more Thor type characters, that's really cool and fun. So I'm digging what they're doing with this at the moment. And then sticking with symbiotes who are kind of out of place, we get the second part of the Venom and Thor mashup story. And again, it's just fun to see when these different characters are placed out of their element in a new environment with new heroes and whatnot, and seeing how they get along and interact. It really reminds me of the mid-90s when Venom was popping up in every single different character's comic because he was the big-time flavor of the month. 30 years later, not a lot has changed. So these two slimy symbiote offerings from Marvel, they kind of have my attention. Marvel Comics are taking a page from the movie side of things by issuing to fans a timeline of what to expect from their big events over the next year, and there's some interesting stuff to speculate on, so let's have a little look at them. First of all, in November of this year, so right around the corner, we've got the Avengers Assemble event. No idea what that's going to be about. I don't read Modern Avengers, but if you guys are following the stories, let me know what you think we can expect. Then in December, we're going to get Dark Web, and of course, I'm going to be on board for this because it's the continued character assassination of my boy Ben Reilly. They massacred my boy, but I'm going to keep buying them because it's Ben Reilly, it's Clone Saga. No matter how much they abuse the character, I'm going to keep on coming back. This time, he's teaming up with Madeline Pryor, so it's going to be a Spider-Man X-Men mashup kind of thing. So that could be interesting at least. Hey, look, I'm going to live in hope that one of these days they're going to do right by him. They won't. Then kicking off the new year in January, we get Sins of Sinister. And this might actually get me to dip my toe back into the X-Men comics. I dig Sinister as a character, and I do like the idea that finally all the villains and ne'er-do-wells who they've been trying to buddy up with on Krakoa are actually revealing their true colors. So having Sinister finally break bad and be the antagonist, which, I mean, he never really stopped being. I appreciate that they didn't just magically make all the villains good. They actually tried to see how they would work within that dynamic. But yeah, a big Sinister-centric storyline, that could be a lot of fun. Then in the summer, we're getting the Summer of Symbiotes. No idea what this is going to involve in the slightest. I hope it's a bit of a course correction for Venom. Hey, look! Folks might really be enjoying the current run. I'm not a fan too much myself. It's super cosmic. It's Kang the Conqueror and time travel and alternate dimensions, and I'm just like, nah, you're losing me here. I like my street level stuff, and there is street level stuff, but it's just a bit too warpy, mind bendy for me as well. So if we can get back to grounding Venom a bit, I would be really happy with that. But hey, we'll find out next summer. And then rounding out next year, we will have the Fall of X, which apparently will bring to a close this current Krakoa era of the X-Men, which is only good news for me, because I could never really get on board with that. Don't know how it's going to do it, or what the status quo after will be, but another big X-Men shakeup, which for me will hopefully bring them back to Westchester and New York, and again, you know me, I like familiarity. I want everything to be grounded, somewhere I can recognize and feel safe in. I'm such a middle-aged man. Do I understand it? No? Then I don't like it, and I certainly do not approve of it. So yeah, big things coming for the X-Men. In movie news, DC Warner Brothers are apparently extremely keen to get Henry Cavill back into the role of Superman. Guys, I'm just saying, if Henry's not available, give your old pal Dave a call. I'm pretty sure I can pull it off. But if that's not going to be the case and we are going to get Cavill back, I'm also kind of pleased about that, because I do think he's pretty damn fantastic in the role and still hasn't actually had a proper chance to shine. But the fact that Warner Brothers seem to be really behind making this happen, that's very exciting. But that's not all. This comes from an extended report that was released recently, which also said that James Gunn is currently still working on a secret project for DC Warner Brothers. So James Gunn, of course, most famous for Guardians of the Galaxy. He did the latest Suicide Squad movie as well, so he has good tenure. So hopefully something good's going to come out of that. The report also states that Superman would be likely to pop up in various other franchises. It seems like they're really trying to go for that open universe kind of thing. Matt Reeves' Batman is going to be getting more spin-offs apparently with different villains. They want to build on that world as well. And again, there's a lot of talk at the moment, but hopefully good things will come from this. It seems that Warner DC are desperately trying to find like a Kevin Feige type person who can be like, right, let's get our ducks in a line and make this work. And at the moment it seems pretty chaotic, like a lot is happening in this gigantic mega corporation. But if anything to take home from this is that they're going to put more focus in building something strategic and recognizable and solid, ideally with Henry Cavill at the helm, rocking the game as Superman, that might get my attention. Confirming rumors that were floating around for the last few days, it would seem official that Harrison Ford is joining the MCU as the new General Thunderbolt Ross. This is kind of interesting. I'm not saying it's like great, but it could be. First of all, obviously, rest in peace, William Hurt. That was very sad news, but I'm kind of glad that they are actually keeping the character around and just recasting. That gets a thumbs up because he's a cool character and there's so much more to do with the Red Hulk. Because that's got to be where we're going, folks. And so Harrison Ford, I think, is awesome. I mean, come on. He's Han Solo. He's Indiana Jones. He's also 80 years old, though. So, I mean, he's a cool badass. He's going to just be a charismatic, enigmatic, systematic, hydromatic, ultramatic. He could be Grease Lightning. Either way, he's a cool dude. But he is getting on. So I hope that he will still be able to have that intimidating, gruff gravitas to his performance, bearing in mind that he probably won't have to be Harrison Ford for all that long. I'm guessing they're going to have him turn into Red Hulk sooner than later, but who knows? Regardless, he should be popping up in Captain America 4. And that's looking to be, that could be a good one. I mean, first of all, I dig Sam Wilson as Captain America. I like that character progression. Would I like to see classic Steve Rogers back at some point? 100%, absolutely. But going in this direction for a while, I dig it. The fact that we're getting the leader as well, this whole New World Order story, this kind of mashes my potatoes. So Harrison Ford, if he brings the gruffness, then I think he could be an awesome Thunderbolt Ross. It's funny, actually, in a lot of the images that various places are showing to show like, oh, Harrison Ford is going to be the Red Hulk, they're showing pictures of the second Red Hulk, who actually isn't General Ross, which really confused me when I was reading comics as well, because the second Red Hulk looks more like General Ross than General Ross did. The second Red Hulk has the moustache and the aviators, and it's like, oh, they've made General Ross Red Hulk look more like the character because now his identity isn't a mystery. And then I find out, no, actually, that's not General Ross. That's a completely different character who happens to have all the distinguishing features of General Ross. Okay. I always thought that was a bit of a bizarre choice, but there we go. Either way, I'm giving this a tentative thumbs up. Good news. A sci-fi movie that was a favourite of mine about 10 years ago when it first came out is getting a sequel, and that is Attack the Block. We are getting Attack the Block 2! The original starred a pre-Star Wars John Boyega as I guess we would call him a hoodie in England, a no-good ruffian, and his gang of fellow hoodies. 10 years ago, we didn't like hoodies in the UK. But yes, they were like a gang, basically, in London, when all of a sudden, aliens attack. And it's a really cool kind of storming of Precinct 13 type alien invasion in a high-rise block of flats sort of movie. And the creature designs were awesome. They basically looked like pitch black gorillas with neon blue teeth. They were very, very cool. So this was a great little cult movie, and now it's getting a sequel. And it's going to address more sort of inner city London type issues like the original did. The first was about gangs and street crime and that kind of thing, and now it's going to be more gentrification and how cultures and things are meshing and merging and being pushed out and all that sort of stuff. I dig that. Some gory, violent alien invasion horror with a little bit of social commentary. I'm down to clown. So John Boyega, he's a very interesting actor because he don't care about pleasing studios and whatnot. Like he has spoken so much trash about Star Wars. I'm like, fair play, dude. He's got a bit of a Dave Bautista kind of vibe to him, where like he's happy to do the big budget movies and get paid, but he's not going to keep his mouth shut. So I'm really glad that he's still getting like prominent work because he's a talented dude. So I'm looking forward to this. An interesting little story from Deadline is that apparently we're going to be getting a new Naked Gun movie starring Liam Neeson. And that in itself is quite interesting for me because Liam Neeson, you wouldn't have thought necessarily has great comedic acting chops, but he does.
I'm a funny guy, aren't I? I'm funny, right?
Yeah.
Because he can be so deadpan, and that is where the comic genius of Leslie Nielsen came from with his portrayal of Frank Drebin in Naked Gun, is deadpan. You don't act like you're in a comedy. You act like what you're doing is dead serious, and that's what makes it funny. So Liam Neeson, he's quite famous for having a scene in a British sitcom called Life's Too Short, where he plays himself, and he's talking to Ricky Gervais about how he wants to star in comedy, because according to him, I'm a funny guy. I can be funny. And that's wonderful. So if he's playing maybe the son of Frank Drebin or something like that, I'm very interested to see that. Because also, we haven't had a decent spoof movie in years. I think spoof died when Scary Movie became date movie, superhero movie, garbage movie. Like, it all just became nonsense rubbish. But to get a really good parody movie kind of renaissance, that would be awesome. Apparently Seth MacFarlane, creator of Family Guy, is going to be producing, and he has a pretty good track record actually when he's reined in. It's like, I think Seth MacFarlane is very talented, but he does need editors and people to say, okay, maybe we need to just curb that bit because that's gold. All right? Because I really enjoyed his, I nearly really enjoyed his A Million Ways to Die in the West, but it was way too long. It just dragged on forever, and it's like, dude, there's an entertaining 90-minute movie in here somewhere. So if all the pieces are in place, I think Liam Neeson in Naked Gun, that could be great fun. Now, recently I had a little segment where I made fun of articles that say, so-and-so would love to star in this role, because that's non-news. Like, of course they would love to star in that role. It would make them a lot of money. But I will give this one some time because I think it's just kind of nice that Brendan Fraser has said that he would love to come back and do another Mummy movie. And again, of course he would. But I do love the idea of that because Brendan Fraser seems to be just the internet's sweetheart at the moment. Like, we all just want to see Brendan Fraser do well. And I would love to see him return for a Mummy movie. Like, he doesn't have to be the action hero star of the late 90s that he was. Like, he can be the father figure to a new Mummy type character. Because also, even though the Mummy films were great and he was great in them, his character was never like Indiana Jones. You know, I mean, what was the name of his character in the Mummy movies? Because I can't remember. I'm sure people are probably screaming it at me, but still, I think if he took a step back into like a mentor role and someone else could take the lead, that could work really, really well, as long as it's not Shia LaBeouf. So yeah, I would actually love to see Brendan Fraser back in some new Mummy movies. I'd be down for that. Speaking earlier of Harrison Ford, something I thought was kind of just sort of sweet and also encouraging was that he got a little choked up on stage talking about the new Indiana Jones movie. They were premiering a teaser trailer for it. Was it at New York Comic Con maybe? But there was only some handheld footage of it. But it's just kind of lovely because Harrison Ford seems to have this reputation of being quite a gruff, surly, sort of totally over it kind of guy, you know? Like, he's just like, nah, movies, whatever, you know, no big deal. But here on stage, he genuinely got choked up talking about the story of Indiana Jones 5. And on the stage with him was Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who was, I'm not sure if she was the principal writer, the only writer, one of the writers. Regardless, she was there as well and taking a lot of the credit that was being given to her for scripting a story that seems to, according to Harrison Ford, have so much heart and pathos and connections to family and just all these kind of things that really bring up these strong emotions. And if that's the case, if this is going to be an emotional roller coaster of an Indiana Jones film, I love the sound of that. I think throw in some great fun action as well. Look, it can't be worse than Crystal Skull. Can it? We'll find out soon, but I'm really looking forward to it. I thought this was a really sweet little video. Nice to see like human sides of people that you've grown up watching, so I've got high hopes for Indy 5. A movie trailer I just saw that absolutely just has my attention is a film called Knock at the Cabin, which is the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. And yes, this dude has a mixed bag as far as films go, but when he's good, he's very good. And this one stars Batista. And Dave Batista, that's always going to give me a little bit more of a vested interest. But the story, this looks really interesting, that basically it's a home invasion kind of setup. But Dave Batista and his group of people, including Rupert Grinch from Harry Potter, they're invading these people's homes and taking them captive because apparently they have to kill them or make them make a choice as to what they're going to do, or else the world will end. And that sounds like an interesting premise, if it can be pulled off. Why will the world end? Who's making them do this? Why is Dave Batista such a good actor? That doesn't make sense, but he's always awesome. These are questions that I want answers to, and hopefully this film might reveal some of them. Or it might be a complete M. Night Shyamalan bait and switch. Who knows, but I'm gonna find out. And if you want to get Christmassy, on December 15th, The Mean One is going to be released, which is a Grinch horror movie. And why the heck not? I love horror, I love Christmas, why not mash them both together? You got things like Silent Night, was it Silent Night, Deadly Night? Hell, Gremlins scared the bejesus out of me, and that's a Christmas movie. So a horror movie with a crazy, terrifying Grinch murdering people? Yeah, I'm down for that. Might be utter trash, in fact, probably will be. But hey, look, prove me wrong, movie. I think just from the stills that we can see, the Grinch makeup, it looks decent. I think it looks really good. If they can have some fun scares, maybe a little meta humor and just some thrills and chills, I'll be down to watch this. This could be good, entertaining nonsense. Speaking of scary movies, this should probably be in the comics section, but I'll put it in the movies section because it gives a nice little bit of synergy and flow through this episode. Harley Quinn gets a redesign for DC Comics' Halloween special, where she's been pictured and portrayed as an 80s slasher movie scream queen, and I just wanted to share this because I thought it looks really cool. This is a fun little homage to the 80s VHS rental tapes of the 80s, I guess. You kids, you wouldn't understand what it was like to go into a Blockbuster and look through all these big, chunky VHS cassette tapes, and there was something, I was going to say, it's overly romanticized, like, compared to just downloading stuff off the internet or streaming. Yeah, it's, I wouldn't want to go back to that, but we think we do. In our generation, we think like, oh man, wouldn't it be great to go to Blockbuster on a Friday night? No, it wouldn't. But we can still pretend that that's a better way of doing things and enjoy it through awesome comic book covers. Over at IGN, they have a full developer walkthrough of a game called Dust and Neon, and this just looks really, really pretty. This has my interest, because I love a bit of a cowboy aesthetic, but then with like future tech. You know, like a movie like Cowboys and Aliens, that should have worked for me, but it didn't. I found it boring. But the fusion of Western and sci-fi, I do really, really dig that. And this looks cool. I love a good top-down shooter. Takes me back to the old arcade days of the early 90s. That's really, really cool. So with this kind of aesthetic where it looks like a lot of creativity has gone into this, a lot of artistic thought as to how you can make this just look like a more captivating kind of game to play, that really works for me. So I'm going to be watching this one real closely, because as far as just bright, colourful action that seems to have a bit of a strategic kind of bent to it as well, this is one that I'm going to watch closely. Over in pro wrestling news, AEW Dynamite ended quite abruptly yesterday with a match stoppage. Hangman Adam Page took a nasty spill after a clothesline, and apparently from the news that's coming in, knocked himself out and has a concussion. And that's kind of a relief to hear that it is a concussion. Not that that's a good thing, but it's always incredibly scary when a match has to be stopped and you don't really know why. Because John Moxley and MJF and everyone had to kind of scramble to fill the last 10 minutes of screen time as Hangman was being attended to. So that's always a little worrying. But apparently Hangman did give a thumbs up to the crowd from a stretcher as he was being taken out. And this is just one of those things that happens in wrestling sometimes. And I thank goodness that in this day and age now, referees and wrestlers are comfortable to actually just stop a match. Back in the old days, which were not good old days, they were just the old days, you would have had a finish somehow, which would have just put people in more danger. You still have Steve Austin with a broken neck rolling up Owen Hart, and Triple H, with his torn quad, still finishing the match. That's not a good thing. You're badly injuring yourself and putting your opponent at risk. I was so happy to see the fact that they were like, oh, he's badly hurt, match over. Like, that's a good thing. So basically, get well soon, Hangman. Hopefully it is a light concussion, if there is such a thing, and you can recover and be back in fighting form in no time. Speaking of recovering, Triple H, and speaking of Triple H earlier as well, is out with COVID at the moment. Remember COVID? Yeah, still a thing apparently. I'm being flippant, of course. It's very much a thing. A common expression in the UK is that the UK is done with COVID. However, COVID is not done with the UK, or anywhere else it would seem. So Triple H has gone home while everyone else runs WWE. And I'm sure that Vince McMahon is sat at home thinking, you wouldn't see me catching COVID and taking time off. Well, no, Vince, but you probably would have sexually harassed COVID in the back of your limousine and then taken company funds to pay it hush money. But that's a story for another time. A random cool little piece of merch that I wanted to share with you guys. This isn't a plug or anything. I just saw this EVA gear bag advertised on Instagram and I was like, that does look really cool. I used to watch a little bit of Evangelion and I was never a huge fan, but I just thought the style and designs of the mechs and everything super, super cool. And these kit bags that are designed with the purple and green, the straps, the belts, the buckles, I was like, that's pretty awesome actually. So just thought I would show them to you. So, if you want something for Christmas, you don't know what to tell people to buy you, just, send them this link. I'm going to put the link in the description below so you have a little access to it there. But I've got no idea if they're good quality or not. Maybe, but I will say, just at a glance, they look pretty cool. Over in Cosplay Corner, I want to give a shout out to Instagram creator zoogirlq. She makes these awesome looking cosplays, particularly the one that caught my eye was her X-23 cosplay, which just looked freaking badass. So as I always say with these cosplay shout outs, if you like the pictures that I'm showing, you want to go support the creator, then do exactly that. I love giving shout outs to people who are just creating awesome looking things. That also goes for custom action figures, badass artwork, and all points in between. But doing the cosplay shout outs, that means I get to put pretty people in my thumbnails, and I have a perfectly legitimate reason for doing it. It does help views, so everyone's a winner. And finally, linking back to wrestling stories a little bit, over on Up Up Down Down, which is a video game YouTube channel hosted by WWE star Xavier Woods, we had a wonderful little surprise appearance from Big E. Big E has been out with a neck injury for, the best part of a year or so. It was in the springtime this year, I think. He took a nasty spill and he broke his neck, and it's been a long road to recovery, but just seeing him randomly pop up on this episode and he's jumping around and in high spirits and just being that big ball of charismatic energy that Big E is always known for being.
Cause I rose from the dead. They tried to bury a boy. They tried to take dirt on me, but I ain't dead. I ain't dead yet. I ain't dead yet.
That is what we call good news. That made me so happy to see. That makes me really happy to report on. So he's not 100% yet. He's not cleared for wrestling or anything else like that, but just seeing him up and about and being his usual self, that makes me really happy. That's a good story to end on. And folks, that does it for good news for today. What did you think about the stories covered? Comment below. Let me know. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then you know what you gotta do. You gotta join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And also, guys, if you want to help out the channel, give me the chance to make more of these episodes, or at least put more time into them, which is never a bad thing with my editing, then you can support the channel by going over to patreon.com/displaying-model-behaviour. If you toss a couple of bucks my way, that would really help support the show. Plus, you get to enjoy all the exclusive videos on there, including my deep dive retrospective on the episodes and action figures of the 1990s Spider-Man show. That's a lot of fun. And also, you can support the channel by picking up a badass t-shirt from teespring.com. Check the link in the description below. Alright, I'm going to go and take some cough syrup now because I've got a lot of hacking and wheezing to edit out of this episode. Gang, thank you for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior. Hello there, gang, and welcome to Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest. Oof, so close. Mightiest. Oh. Hello there, gang, and welcome to. Oh, jeez, Louise, come on. I'm playing a shocker today. Hello there, gang, and welcome to Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. Video podcast. Hello there, gang, and welcome to. Hello there, gang, and welcome to Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. I'm spitting all over myself. Hello there, gang, and welcome to Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys, comics, movies, video games, and all the things within our brains. Hey, that kind of rhymes, so let's not stand on ceremony. Mr. Wayne, let's talk about him. Yes! Do it one more time, though.